Okay, everybody, I'm going to try to make this really, really fast. So this is the second day of state machines. Oh, where's me? There, you can see me. Okay, I'm here with you. It's like I'm teaching you. Uh, I'm even wearing lipstick, which I never do. Look at that. Oh, but you can't see me when I go onto Chrome. That's too bad. So for week 4, so far we talked a little bit about state machines. We talked about the mouse clicked routine that you can add in there, and we talked about this awesome, awesome command called switch. And what switch does, it's a branching mechanism. So we put this in our draw loop, and then we can branch. We can either do this code, or we can do this code, or etc. So this in order and this switches works on this my state variable, right? So I can't even think without seeing myself. I got to see myself talk there. So my state in this case is an integer, and it can be a character too sometimes. But right now we're using it as an integer, so it could be 0, 1, 2, or 3, and we're changing it with a mouse click. So that was the first program that we did. So now we're going to see how we can change it with like a timer. So when a timer runs out, then we switch my state. We change it to my state plus plus. So you guys remember, so we'll just start with a regular program. I should probably have paused this. Void setup and void draw. You can follow along with me. You can pause me anytime so you can type this stuff here. But don't just sit and watch this and then try to recreate it. Pause this movie all the time so you can catch up to me, okay? And then we'll do size 500 by 500, right? And in here we're going to have that branching mechanism again. So switch. Actually, before we do that, let's save this as simple timer. Okay, and let's see how to make a timer. So with a timer, we're going to have an integer called maybe my timer, and we'll set it equal to 0. And in the draw loop, we'll increment my timer. So my timer plus plus, that means my timer equals my timer plus 1. Okay, does not mean my timer plus 1. It means my timer equals my timer plus 1. There's a difference. Okay, and so, maybe you have a bunch of stuff. Maybe you're using Arduino and you've got things flashing, or you've got a face. Somebody in one of the classes wanted the background to flash at a different rate than the eyeballs flashed, or something like that, right? So you could change the frame rate, but that's not good. You don't want to mess with the frame rate. You want your program to run as quickly as possible all the time, 60 times a second, and then you want every so often something to happen. So you would put an if my timer is greater than or equal to, you can do greater than, I usually write 3 times 60 because it's usually running 60 times a second. So this will be 3 seconds. So every 3 seconds we're going to do something. Maybe we'll print line beep every 3 seconds. Maybe you'll set a light with your Arduino every 3 seconds. Maybe you'll flash it or something like that, or you'll toggle it on or off, or maybe you'll flash the background, or you'll flash, you'll change a color or something like that, right? So if we do this, my timer is going to be 0 first, then it's going to be 1, right? It's going to keep going. Once it gets past 180, we're going to print beep. Okay, so let's see how that works. So we'll count. We'll have 1, 2, 3. It's going to print line down here, right? Oh, but it's keeping on printing now, and that's because the timer hasn't been reset. It was at 180, then it was at 181, which is still greater than 3 times 60, and then it was at 182. So we have to reset the timer in here. My timer equals 0. So that way, then it'll drop out of this code. My timer will be 0 again, and then it'll be 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then once it gets to 180 again, it'll print another beep. Okay, so let's see. So after 3 seconds, I'll see beep, and then my timer variable will be set back to 0 again. Oh, there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I should should probably check to make sure you guys can see this. But anyway, oh yeah, you can. This is a minute. So every 3 seconds you should see beep. 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 Or every 3 seconds or something like that. So yay. So we're going to see this code, this timer code, inside of our switching mechanism. So let's see what that's going to look like. Right? So in here, we're also going to have a variable called int my state. Right? I'm just joking. That's my Illinois state, and you guys know this has got to be spelled exactly the right way with capitalizations. And then we set it equal to 0 here. And then here we can do switch on my state. And then always beginning curly bracket and ending curly bracket. Whenever I'm programming, I always put a beginning and an ending curly bracket. Whenever I put a beginning curly bracket, I type the ending curly bracket, and then I put a space in between like that. So case 0, if we're in case 0, we'll write text. We are in case 0. And then I'll put it at 100 times, comma 100. Right? And then there's always got to be a break command. Right? So then I'm going to have a couple other cases. I'll have case 1 and case 2. You notice I'm copying and pasting, and then I'm hitting Command T to format it. So try that. When you're copying and pasting, try hitting Command or Control T if you're on a Windows machine. And then make sure you change this to case 1 and case 2, and make sure you change this to case 1 and case 2. Yay. Right? And then run it, and it'll just say, since my state is initialized to 0, it's just going to say we're in case 0. Okay. So you see how ratty that text looks? It's because it keeps on printing over itself. So I'm going to put a background command. Actually, I'll put a background command in every single one of these because I might want a different color. So I'll put a background of red in the first one and a background of green in the second one. And I'll put a background of blue in the third one. Great. And again, nothing's changing, right? We're just staying in case 1. So before, we had a void mouse clicked, or mouse clicked here, and so every time we hit the mouse, then we had an increment of my state. So we go to this, and then we put an if statement, and if it got bigger than 2, we changed it back to 0 again. But let's see how we can incorporate that timer in, right? So in case 0, we've got our background and we've got text. But then before the break routine, you're going to have to do this in every one of your cases. Before the break, you will have this, my timer plus plus. You want to increment my timer, right? And then you want to, if my timer is bigger than 180 times 3, or bigger than 180, or bigger than, maybe 2 seconds, we're going to go to the next case, right? Maybe if you're going to have like poetry or something on this screen, you're maybe going to want to have it for longer, something longer than 3 seconds. So my timer plus plus, and then remember I said if my timer gets greater than, I'll do 2 seconds this time, greater than 2 seconds, then what do I want to do? Well, definitely I want to reset my timer, otherwise there will be a problem. It'll just keep going forever. And then I probably want to do something with the state to advance it, right? So my state equals my state plus 1, or I can plus it, so it goes to the next state. Or maybe if I'm in case 0 and my timer runs out, I want to go to case 2. I can do my state equals 2. I can decide wherever the next case is that I want to make. So for right now, I think I'm going to do my state plus plus. And that will advance this one after it gets to 2 seconds. So let's see. Let's run it. Okay, we're in case 0. And then, my state changed to case 1. It is never going to change out of here, right? Because there's no timer. There's nothing in case 1. The only code we're running in this program right now is we're going, what's my state? It's 1 right now. It happens to be 1. So we're jumping to here, and we're just running background green and text 1 case 1, and that's it. It'll break out of here, and there's nothing else. Look at that, there's nothing else here. And I could put like a, you know, a rectangle here that'll happen in all the cases and stuff. I can put extra code here, but so this is how you do a timer-based state machine, and this timer is only happening here. So if I want all of them, if I want case 1 to have a timer in it also, I'll put that timer code in here as well. So right before the break, just because it's a nice place to put it, I'll put my timer plus plus again, and when it gets to 2 seconds, I'll increment my state. My state will go to 2 now because it was 1. Okay? And then I can put that same code in here too. But in this one, case 2, if I'm in case 2, this means my state variable. This means my state equals 2, right? And up there it meant my state equal 1. So once I run this code, once it gets over 2 seconds, this is going to change my state to be 3, and I don't have a case 3. I have a case 0, right? So maybe what I should do is I can just be like my state equals 0, and then it'll go back to the 0th state. Maybe I want to bounce from case 2 to case 1 again. Maybe this is a you won, or you leveled up level, and I want to go back to 1. Maybe the case 1 is the playing of the game. But for right now, I changed it to my state equals 0 again. So hopefully you can understand this code. I'm going to run it just to make sure, because I always check even when I'm programming this. So 2 seconds should pass, and it goes to case 1. 2 seconds pass again, goes to case 2, and it goes to case 0 again. Yay! So some of the mistakes that people make a lot of times are mismatched curly brackets. So if always has curly brackets the way I do it. There's a way to do an if statement with just the one sentence after it and then end it there, but usually when I do this, I'll have curly brackets because I usually have a block of code in here. So make sure that all your ifs have got curly brackets. Make sure there's a curly bracket beginning and ending the switch. And so there's that. And then make sure, of course, that there's a beginning and ending curly bracket for the draw routine. All right. So that's it for timer code. Thanks for watching. And there will be a quiz. Make sure you take the quiz on this.